Well, for more, we can cross now over to an industry watcher. He joins us now. Xavier Tytelman joins us from the French capital. Thank you for speaking with us here on
A
France
pleasure.
24. Let me just read to you a statement by the director of the IATA, the International Air Travel Association, which is the big industry body. He's saying the current issues we've seen in the last week will get addressed. Airlines and airports, he says, are trying to rebuild. It's a challenge. Will these airlines and airports be ready for the summer?
Well, not all of them, because there's a lot of issues. Of course, you don't have a lot of unemployment, so it's hard to find a volunteer. But the main difficulty is now that people have to get some trainings, and sometimes those trainings last for weeks, sometimes months. For example, if you want to look at a steward, he needs to have some medical issues. If you're looking at the people taking care of the luggage, of course, you need to have some safety clearance. And it can take months and months. And usually, for example, here in France, you go to the gendarmerie, and the gendarmerie, it takes about 2 or 3 months, but they had people all year long. And now, for a couple of years, some people didn't work at all. And now you have 2 years of people who come at the same time to have their safety clearance. And so, of course, it's just crowded, and maybe not all those people will be available for this summer.
Yeah, it's not just training, it's certification, what you're describing.
For some of them, pilots, for example, it can take up to 6 months just to get back on track for pilots who stopped flying for 2 years.
So it is going to be a challenge. How about the queues at the airports themselves, letting people into the airport?
It depends. Um, Basically, at the safety clearance, people have to wait because we have fewer specialists than usual. Before the COVID crisis, we had a regular, normal number of people, trained people, and now some of them just now come back to that job, and they will need a 3 months training for that. So of course, it won't be ready. And in the airport, as you can see it now, it can take hours already, but the situation is quite different between the countries. For example, here in France, we are lucky enough to have a very high level of social protection, so few people lose their habilitation. On the contrary, if you look at in North America, for example, in Great Britain, in Netherlands also, it's a bit complicated because those people who lost their jobs were just unemployed and lost all their qualification. So the difference will be major between the different countries. And basically, France and South European countries will have fewer problems than more liberal countries, I could say.
Right, and you got to wonder when I'm listening to what you're saying there, because in France we were all shocked when the ferry company P&O decided to fire its staff so he could pay lower wages. Is that going to come back to haunt the ferry? Is that going to come back to haunt P&O? And will there be a knock-on effect? Will it just be for tourism, or will this have an effect as well when it comes to shipping goods around Europe?
No, it's a main problem for any issues. All the boats, all the cruise members, and all the planes that you will need, the cargo planes mainly, uh, we have a rebound that we didn't expect because, 1 year ago we were expecting to have those high demand for maybe 2025, 2027, and it appears that on some destinations we have the highest record ever. For example, you know that people were not able to come and see their family for 2 years, for example, to Algeria or even to North America to go to the US. And so we already know that the next summer will be a highly record ever. And we didn't expect such a rebound and such a high rebound so fast. So, of course, people are not ready for this because it was just unexpected. But, of course, the airlines are trying to make them available. And in addition to that, you have all the cargo, and you have a lot of cargo needed, for example, because you have a lot of issues traveling by boat from Asia to Europe, for example. And of course, everything that you can't ship by boat, you have to ship it by plane. So we are expecting about a 70% increase in the cargo need in the next few years. So it's absolutely massive and much more important than what we are facing for the crew, for the tourist industry, for example.
We can presume that it will mean higher wages as well with those workers in demand.
Of course.
Aeronautics consultant Xavier Tytelman, many thanks for joining us live here on France 24.